Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have some very important developments on the global stage, mainly in relation to Russia, the United States of America, the European Union, and India. And the first topic that I will discuss is seemingly the United States of America sobers up. In relation to Russia, they understand that Russia is possibly more important than the European Union in not only in the military sphere, obviously, but in economic, financial opportunities. So, United States of America puts normalization relations with Russia among, quote-unquote, core interests. That's according to the American administration, the current American administration. That means the next one, if it's not the same one, could change the core interest. I have two articles on that issue. The second one, something that I've been saying for some time, is said by the Americans to the Europeans. United States of America warns Europe of, and I'm quoting, civilizational erasure. Not replacement, erasure. And the Americans are telling the Europeans that they kind of need to stop censoring. That's one. And the immigration. That sounds like a little bit too late, I would say, the immigration, but we are going to discuss that issue. Then we're going to go into the third topic, which is the European Union makes demands to Russia that could not be met. They are demands that you know from the get-go the other side will not even talk about them, are non-negotiable. And the Russians tell the Europeans, guys, stop pretending you want to negotiate peace. You are trying to demand certain things from us that you already know that is one of the causes that we say, the root causes for which we entered Ukraine. So this is a beautiful way to not accomplish something, don't want to accomplish something, in this case peace, pretend you want by demanding the impossible. This is exactly what, not exactly, but I would say it reminds me of Poland before the September 1st, 1939. You remember what happened then? No, it was not the beginning of the Second World War. It was just a war between the Germans and the Poles. That's how it was. The World War started when Great Britain and then France declared war to Germany. Then it became a world war. 4 countries. Remember that one. Keep that in mind. So, the same then, the same now. The Europeans make demands that simply you are not even in the game. This is what Dmitriev is one of the negotiators from the Russian side. Told Merz. He said, you're not even in the game. Why are you talking? That's exactly what I said many times before. The European Union is yapping, but has no teeth. I mean, no, you know what I mean. But they try to show relevance, but they have nothing behind them. And they try to insert themselves in this equation in Ukraine, and they are not taken seriously because they shouldn't be taken seriously. Why? Look at their leaders, and it's enough. Listen to them. You don't have to only look at them, listen to them. So Dmitriev said, why are you talking, Merz? You're not in the game. That means you're not playing, you're out, you're an outsider. And then we go to the last topic, which is Putin's visit to India, his friend Modi, who withstood the West Anglo-Saxons attacks, the British, the American attacks on his country. And these guys in the West still think and try to treat India as a colony. The Russians, the Soviets before them, treated India with respect, dignity, and helped them when the West were helping India's enemies. We were not democratic, Pakistan. But hey, the democracies were supporting an undemocratic, remember it was a military junta over there in charge of Pakistan, fighting India. India was a democracy, and the democratic countries decided to help the other side, not the democracy. So when you hear the G7, the economic democracies, economies of the democracy, they don't even care. Look what they do to Maduro and look what they do to the Syrian leader, president. Invite the former terrorists to the White House, but you want Maduro out. Why? They want their oil. One gives them the oil like that. The other one saying, no, I'm not going to give you the oil. So let's end with Russia-India sign 29 joint documents following Putin-Modi talks. Remember, when the Russians meet you, they don't meet like the Americans in Hollywood. Hey, living in America. Pop, pop, pop. There's not like that. The Russians are meeting to do serious business. We meet after our teams worked on documents to be signed by our leaders, presidents. And these guys are leaders. All right? Why? Because they depend and they work through their own strength. They don't are tools like Trump, for instance, or Merz, or Merkel, or whomever were in the Brits, the French. All right, let's go with the first topic, which is U.S. puts normalizing relations with Russia among core interests. It was about time to sober up, and my question is, or my skepticism comes from the Americans' shifty attitude. They could be your friends today, and tomorrow they could be your enemies, like a girlfriend or someone, a wife. They would say, I love you today, and tomorrow I hate you. What the hell changed? Nothing, just different pens, probably, tongues enter, somewhere. So the same with the Americans is actions, not words. They lost credibility a long time ago. When? Just ask the American Indians and you're going to find out. And I'm not promoting those guys, but if you still have them around, they will blame you. You know what I mean? All right. The new national security strategy calls for a swift end to the Ukraine conflict and preventing further escalation in Europe. The US has placed the restoration of normal ties with Russia and a rapid end to the Ukraine conflict at the center of its newly released national security strategy, presenting both aims as among America's core interests. The 33-page report outlining President Trump's foreign policy vision was released by the White House on Friday, and I'm quoting, "It is a core interest of the United States to negotiate an expeditious cessation of hostilities in Ukraine in order to stabilize European economies," who destabilize them, I wonder, "prevent unintended escalation or expansion of the war, and re-establish strategic stability with Russia." Question: Do you know who was in charge? No, do you know how the Russians got to be at this point where the Americans want to reestablish strategic stability? Do you know the core interest? Do you know? By Russia fighting a war. They call it special military operation because there's not a war for them. They say, you ain't seen nothing yet. If it's a war, we're gonna go and wash our feet in the Atlantic Ocean in Lisbon. If that's the case. This is not a war. This is a special military operation. About 700,000 people fighting over there. Not 30 million. All right? Just so you know, no nuclear weapons, no anything like that. So yes, first, let's see the Americans are doing our walk the walk, talk the talk, whatever the expression is. And the Russians said, we are waiting for you to do it, not to talk about it. It's nice. Words are nice, but we don't believe anything you say. Anything. It was Lavrov saying that. So again, the Russians gained respect fighting a war and not losing. That's why now these guys are so, what? I told you this. When the West, the Anglo-Saxons, the interest in charge of these guys will say, okay, enough. Let's focus and try to stab these guys in the back later after we befriend them. They will say, wait, why are we fighting, man? Let's be friends. And while they befriend the Russians, they show the moon to the Russians, thinking again they're friends. Oh yeah, and this guy, pack, and takes over. That's what's going to happen to Russia if these guys are not on guard all the time. Remember, Russia gained its respect not because these guys are benevolent countries. No, because they couldn't destroy them, and they had to recognize that Russia is a powerhouse. All right, that's the first article. The second one, US's new national security strategy envisioned as a clean break from neocons at home and abroad. I don't believe that, because the neocons are there. They're just regrouping. The neocons are regrouping. That's all they do. They try a different way. If you kick me out the house through the door, I'm going to get in through the window. That's what they do. I told you, they will befriend the Russians. They will exchange things. They will cooperate. They will infiltrate. And as I said, when sometimes they're going to sit down, Ivan with John, and they will watch the moon, the Russians going to be like this, ready to block anything. The Americans, come on, Ivan. Oh, a beautiful moon over there. And Ivan is going to look over there, and this guy stab him in the throat. That's what's going to happen if the Russians misinterpret or forget that this war, this military operation in Ukraine, was an existential war for the Russians. It was an existential war. Those guys came for the Russia's throat, for their resources, for their manpower, for their military capabilities to destroy them. Ukraine was just a pretext. But hey, what do I know? Let's go to the next one. And the next one has to do with US warns Europe of civilizational erasure. All right. So, the continent is plagued with immigration problems and censorship, according to the US president's new national security strategy. Europe is facing potential civilizational erasure as the continent's policymakers encourage censorship, crack down on political opponents, and turn a blind eye to mass immigration. That's all correct. The strategy cites EU-backed immigration policies, suspension of political opposition, curbs on speech, collapsing birth rates, and loss of national identity and self-confidence. Well, let me say the warning that Europe could become unrecognizable in 20 years or less. Trump, the same thing happens here in America. You know why? Because the same guy is in charge of you and in charge of Europe are pushing that. Okay? It's like this. It's a graph. It's going up. It's going up, but it's going like this. You see? Now it's going a little bit down, but it's the next we're going to be up. Is the direction is going that way, my friends. It's not going down. You're going a little bit here, but in the trend is you are going like this, or like this, going but the direction is down. So yeah, you can say that to the Europeans. You're not far away behind, my friends. You're not. You are not. But anyway, this is a bigger issue that the mass media don't want us to talk about. Why? Because it's owned and they work for the interests who promote diversity, inclusion, and all that garbage. And show you another article. Russia Today, US accuses European Union of, quote unquote, attack on American people after fine on X. The social media platform, will have to pay $140 million for breaching the Digital Services Act. That's censorship. The US has accused Brussels of an attack on Americans after the EU fined Elon Musk's social media platform X 120 million euros, which is $140 million, for violating the blog's content moderation rules. You have to get into YouTube as well and TikTok and let us talk truth. The European Commission announced the decision on Friday, noting that it is the first time a formal non-compliance ruling has been issued under the Digital Services Act. This is censorship. So when I hear the imbeciles in Romania saying pro-European, you're an imbecile. You're going to these guys are tyrants. These guys, no, the other way around. He's going, come on, go. Okay? Yeah, that's exactly. Come on, go. All right. I play God. Rain or shine. Any sunshine here? All right. Love you. Come on. Baboon. Anyway, so yes, you have to understand that organization, that group, the European Union, is led by tyrants. Tyrants. You want to be in Europe? Go ahead, you go, but leave Romania alone and independent. So again, this is an example. Now, Trump talks, But you see, this is very interesting. I ask you this question. Isn't that strange that Elon Musk is allowed to say certain things, not because he's a billionaire? That doesn't mean anything in a power struggle. That is, Trump can send a few guys, armed guards, and arrest him for some violation or something. He can do that. They can do that. The thing is, how come this guy Elon Musk has contracts with the Pentagon using his satellites? Who allows this guy to send satellites? Do you think that if I become tomorrow multi-billionaire, not billionaire, multi-billionaire, and I want to send satellites that are gonna do this, do you think that the Pentagon will say, yeah, go ahead, do it, man, you're fine, you're just fine? Do you think so? Unless I fucking work for them. I have to work for them in order to be allowed to them to use my satellites. I work for them. They don't do dealings with me. Pentagon tells me what I can do and what I can't do. I have to deal with them. It's not like equal. The Pentagon can take care of. Anyway, not go further. But just so you know, so now America defends X. Great. Why don't you start in America first? Why don't you start in America? With YouTube, with Google, for instance, right here. All right, let's go to the next one. European Union's demands for Ukraine peace plan unacceptable, the Kremlin says. Western European leaders are constantly making proposals they know will be rejected in Moscow. Ushakov said European leaders constantly make demands unacceptable to Moscow, adding that, to put it mildly, the Europeans are not helping to reach a settlement between Washington and Moscow on Ukrainian affairs. Of course that's what it is. They don't want that. They are doing the same as the Poles did. You know what the Poles did? Well, they made some mistakes, Stalin and others, and put it this way. Poland got some German territories. I know the Germans say they're our territories, the Poles said it's our territories. Nevertheless, they were fighting, among others, about the big German population in western Poland, which is Danzig area. Danzig or Gdansk in Polish. It's a port, I don't know, at the Baltic Sea, Baltic Sea, I think, isn't it? Yeah. And they are over there. Let me show you where it's at. Right there. So see, this is Poland right here. This is Germany, and this is Gdansk. This part was once German. So nevertheless, this was now belonged to Poland. Germany was somewhere over here. Doesn't really matter now. Poland is even deeper in. I know the Poles will tell me I don't know anything about their history and blah blah blah, but shut the fuck up. Anyway, so here is Gdansk. So the Germans, Adolf, the bad guy, said, no, you know what, we want the German corridor here. That means this population of Gdansk was, among others, they had a population majority, some say 95%, some say 85%, some say, anyway, they were a majority over there. So this guy said, allow us that, do something, line, something like that. And the Poles said, no. I don't think Hitler's intentions were good towards the Poles, because the Poles were Slavs, and Hitler called the Slavic people subway. No, subway? Okay, subway, you know what I mean? So that's how he called these guys, Slavic people. Nevertheless, so the Poles who said, no, man, we're going to do it. We're going to discuss with you. They negotiated back and forth. I don't know, 9 or 10 times they met, and they did it in bad faith. Why? The Americans, the Brits, and the French assured through treaties signed that in case Germany, only Germany, if Germany attacks Poland, they will intervene militarily. So why would the Poles negotiating? And the Poles gave the Germans all kind of unacceptable counter offers that they knew the Germans will not accept. I'm not saying the Poles should have accepted the Germans' terms or anything like this. My point is, these guys, if you don't want to do something, make an impossible counter offer and say, well, the deal is off, man. But you knew that you will not accept it. I knew that you will not accept it. Right. So let's go back, and here, this is the reality with the European Union. Russia today. You are not even in the game. Russia negotiator tells Merz, the German chancellor. Kirill Dmitriev has accused the German leader of sabotaging the Ukraine settlement process with his warmongering. And he said, you're not even in the game, and you have no value, no power. Dmitriev to Merz, you are not in the game. You are playing outside. You want to come in, we're not going to allow you. Why? You are weak. You are still a country under the US occupation. We talk to your boss. We don't need to talk to you. What are you talking about? The same. Always cut, if you can, the middleman, or you go somewhere, talk to the decision maker. Don't waste your time with low-ranking baboons. No, I mean, you waste time. Your time is not money. It's important. Time is life. It's your life. Remember, every time you stay in traffic because someone drives slowly, that guy is stealing your life, is killing your life, because you could have gotten wherever you had very important things to take care of. You're gonna arrive there 5 minutes late. 5 minutes that you could have, I don't know, wash hands, maybe dance a little bit, maybe read something, maybe talk to someone. So your life was stolen by a driver who's with fucking bottle, whatever. These guys are stealing your life. That's why I feel like bang, bang, bang. I want a tank. Back flat. Anyway, so the same here. Merz is making noise. Merz represents some interest. That he is part of the interest harnessing Germany, and not only outside India. I think he's just a... Anyway, so Merz, he wants importance. Germany is under American occupation. What are you talking about? You shouldn't even open your mouth, man. They wrote your constitution, and in your constitution you don't have the right, you don't have the freedom of speech, you don't have the right to bear and carry guns. But hey, the Americans wrote it for you. Oh no, we wrote it and we gave it to Americans to revise it and to send it back here with red. No. If the Americans really wanted the Germans to have freedom and democracy and liberty after the evil, you know who I mean, they would give the imbeciles in Germany freedom of speech, guaranteed in the Constitution, not that it cannot be violated, and right to bear and carry guns. But they don't. That means you got what, 70,000 American troops over there, nuclear weapons, American nuclear weapons, on your territory. You are a non-country. You're just a footnote in history nowadays. And we go to the other guys right here. In the meantime, these guys are serious. India stood in, how should I put it, did not break the line. Russia, India signed 29 joint documents following Putin-Modi talks. This guy is a hero right here. Right here, this guy. I mean, obviously, this guy is a criminal, obviously, all right? But this guy is a hero. Under all this pressure put on this guy right here, he did not collapse. He did not collapse. And I guarantee you there were some blackmails and threats coming from the Brits and the Americans. And then 29 documents had to do with military, the economy, and everything else. Why? Because these guys are serious people, are not Hollywood-made people. Right? So they talk about fertilizers, Gazprom, oil will continue to buy the Russians oil and gas and everything they want. Fertilizers, they need that. In the military, they will cooperate in sending in the space. The Russian says we give them everything. Maybe they're going to build the Sukhoi 57. Sukhoi 57 over there, and so on. So the good for the Indians. The Indians are smart, and not only smart. You have to have balls. You can be smart, but if you are a coward, you would not. You would be afraid to act. You understand the situation, but you will not act. That is nothing. I remember a friend of mine then, not anymore, who had conversations, and he said that he lives to understand. And I said, okay, but that's the first step. Not acting based on understanding is half of the thing. Yes, understand, but you have to change. If you see, oh, okay, that's a rape over there. Okay, I understand that. Okay, oh, that's a crime over there. Okay, I understand that. Now I stay over here and eat burgers. Is that all? If you see criminality and you understand it, speak up. No, I just want to understand. I disagree with that from the very beginning. And you know what he told me? I don't understand. His position was so deep that I was like lost. My point was, man, that's halfway. Halfway. All right, that's why when I say stay strong, because you are strong, right? And then stay strong, stay smart, because you are smart. Look for the truth. That means look at every angle you can of an issue, and then be just. That means you distribute justice. Be just. What do you mean be just? You have to distribute justice. How you distribute it? With balls. I realized in life that balls are more important than brain. A lot of people with a lot of brains are, how do you call it, have inhibitions to act. And they know, they understand, they're right, but because they don't act, what they know is not going to be known by everybody else. And that's it, it dies over there. But people who are not so deep, they will act, they will change something. Hands on, man. So the same with the Indians. The Indians have balls. Not only they are intelligent and so on, and they right now they are, what do you offer me? And what do you offer me? But I'm not going to stab the Russians in the back because they have been with me. The Russians, the Soviets, blah, 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 they've been with us. Whereas the West was supporting a dictatorship. But hey, we promote democracy and freedom and democracy, right? And they give, I think the three most countries in the world that receive aid from the Americans are Israel, not necessarily this order, Israel, Egypt, and Pakistan. Why? I don't know. That's bribe to me. Not Israel. Israel is just sucking the, as they say in the Old Testament, the honey and the milk of the nations. Good job. And some imbeciles doing it willingly. Again, no balls. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.